first one there of clarity comes from you doing the inner work. Then I can go, okay, well, what do I want? That's the inner work of just being like, what are these options? What's my heart's desire? Which is then followed by that belief I was talking about. Because if you want to be an astronaut, for lack of better terms, but you just don't believe it's possible, then you may as well not have even said it, right? Because it's a moot point. Belief is so glued to that desire. Otherwise, nothing actually happens. That's the faith principle that Think and Grow Rich talks about. So that's the clarity piece. You can sit long enough, not necessarily in one session, but sit long enough with who you are. What are you made for? What do you want? The belief then comes after that. Sometimes you have to work into the belief. We can talk about that if you'd like. And then the second piece is, how do you get the courage, which it's a little different than belief, although I would say that they're tied together. The belief, like self-belief, is going to have to come differently than courage, in my opinion. The courage that I've gotten and that we give inside the group and even on our show is, hey, look what Mark did. Hey, look what John's doing. Let's talk about it, and what that does is it transfers courage, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I can see what Mark's done, right? Like, I think I even told you this when you were on my shows, like the first financial guy that I sat down with in my 20s, I was like, hey man, like, don't take this the wrong way, but can you just show me what you do with your money? And he took it as like me as challenging him, but it was like, well, no, actually, if you're going to touch my money, I kind of want to know what you're doing with yours, and like, show me, see me. Like, I want to see, but put belief in me, transfer courage to me that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, so
there's a reason why they call them brokers, because they're broker than you.
Yes.
So, please understand that.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about this on the show, on Gathering the Kings, and you gave an excellent response to that, which is, look, most guys aren't willing to share because they haven't actually done it. And
That's
so
right.
the cool thing about what you do is that you've not only done it all, but then you found the things that like really, really work. And then you're like, hey, look, I've kind of done the work for you. I've kind of fumbled around on these things. And like, here, these three things like really work for a guy like you.
And I've said this on the show before, but any person who's a client of mine, if they want to see an annual statement I've got from one of our policies, happy to walk through as much of that information as possible, because and you're saying this, and I'm going to use slightly different words, but borrowing our belief is one way I like to talk about this. We need to borrow Chaz's belief that I can achieve a higher horizon, that I'm not just trapped in the crab bucket of my own, preconceived notions of what's possible. The idea of the crab bucket being, I try to escape, but then everybody else pulls me back down. I need to borrow Chaz's belief, or I need to borrow another friend or mentor's belief that can foresee a larger expansion of what's even possible, the potential that's latent inside all of us.